Right. I was just good to meet. It was a real honor meeting you here. I'm a bit nervous about it because I heard a lot about you, and you're doing a terrific job. We're here together today on a meeting in the Parliament building of the Netherlands. We've seen a couple of parliamentarians. How's your impression on how the day went?
Yeah, I think this is the beginning of the recognition. Yes, we know that from this building they decide for West Papua independence 55 years ago. But then coming back to here, this building again, and then see all the parliamentarians sitting in front of everybody on the table. This means they give us confidence, because we thought they've forgotten us.
Yeah.
You know, forgotten us so long, 50 years, and it's too long.
Yeah.
But then today, there's everybody in the room, and everybody could see 4 parliamentarians,
yeah,
and sitting together talking about West Papua,
yeah,
and discuss about our history. And this is for West Papua very important first step of discuss about New Guinea Council in, yeah, this building. That's very important.
So basically what you're saying, it has been the next step where we after such a long period that we made the first step, and now we are here together with Dutch parliamentarians, Dutch politicians, to make further steps finally in our future.
Yes.
I've been asking a couple of questions about international politics. How do you think the situation of the international politics are, and that the Dutch politicians can do a job on this level?
West Papua case is international politics involved, yeah, first place, yeah, because international politics under the international law, where under the international community involved directly, yeah, about in West Papua case, because West Papua is not only happen like that, but international community involved. It's a world politics, international politics involved to victimize the Papuan right to self-determination. So that's why even that talking about the global international politics, but at the same time West Papua is a global politics, because, yeah, this is about talking about international law and about the right to self-determination for whole world. So the West Papua case is that's already they're hiding under the carpet. I think now time our father to speak out about injustice, yeah, for West Papuan people. Yeah.
So this is what the politicians can do, to speak out on an international political level to spread the message for freedom of West Papua. Yeah?
Yes, I think that now, I think from this building they can start talking about West Papua in here, yeah, and then next step is the European Parliament.
All right, they have in steps.
Yeah, step. European Parliament, and from there, because we are former colony, yeah, so it's a case of East Timor. Yeah. Portugal raised this issue within their own parliament, and then in the European Parliament, and the next step is the UN. So that's why West Papua we are still colony. So that's obligation to raise this issue in this Parliament, this building, and then next step in the European Parliament. Right. From there to United Nations, because this is that's obligation as well as that unfinished business. So, yeah, that's why coming back to the father to question, then what did you promise? The promise unfinished. Yeah. So that's why this is come back to.
So what you're saying is we start with our, like you said before today, we start with our father, the one that where, yes, the obligation, yes, the connection is already made, yes, in history.
Yes.
And the political system is more like a step system.
Yes.
First you step on the local, yes, level, regional, yes, level, continental, and then worldwide.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe I can draw the conversation a little bit about what can the individual Dutchman do for the freedom of West Papua?
I think Dutch new generation, it's the same what happened. Mm-hmm. The history, Dutch history never tell their own colony around, yeah, the world. Yeah. That's why the Dutch new generation, they don't know about West Papua. Same thing what Indonesia doing in West Papua. Yeah. Our new generation, we never learn how did Indonesia liberate West Papua. Yeah. How did that, how Indonesia take over from, because there is no telling the truth. we go to the library, we never found our history. That's why same thing happened. This is the cover up everything. That's why I hope that the new generation, time to wake up to support West Papua. This is like this is time for Dutch people to stood up and to solidarity with West Papua.
Yeah, I can tell you from being raised here, there are a lot of young people in my generation, also all kind of cultures, they are waking up. And they are being awake of the international politics and how everybody is actually being deceived. And that the awareness is changing right now. But I think Papuan indigenous culture can play a role in that. Like, how can we give the knowledge of the spiritual world, of the living together with family, nature and animals? How can we get that across to give that as a present to the Western society?
15,000 years ago, West Papua lived with the nature, lived with the mountain, lived with the sea, lived with the forest. So we already. But somebody else came to our land and destroy our culture, our identity, our forest, our mountain. Collaborate with the criminals. I call criminals because Indonesia invaded illegally in West Papua, and then the backing by Indonesian military, cutting our trees, destroy our mountain. That's why it's very important people who out there love the culture, love the identity, love who they are, please support, because our fight is not only political independence, but our fight for free is free for our nature, our animals, our bird of paradise, our tree kangaroos, our mountain, our forest, because we are really connected. We feel forest is our supermarket, the land is our mother. That's why it's very important for us. But when Indonesia came over and they colonized us, destroyed our belief. I think time for new generation, that new generation, please stood up and support this.
Maybe we can close the interview with the quote was "Return of the natural order," a good relationship with our father, with our mother, and our brothers and sisters.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.